Imagine I am the 46th President of the United States of America. Imagine I am a white woman. Imagine that I am the President of the United States of America. And I am not just the President. I am a white woman who holds the highest office, the highest position in America. I have been sworn in office, and I have put my hand on the Bible as I have heard these words. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Pamela S. Givens, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States of America. I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So help me God. And then I hear, congratulations, Miss President. I know as the 46th President of the United States, and being a woman in this world, the world is watching. The world wants to know, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? But they don't want to know what just I'm going to say. They really want to know, what am I going to do? Will I keep my promises that they voted me into the office for? I look at all Americans in the eyes as I look directly into this camera. As I look into the camera, and I will promise you this. I will promise to the best of my ability to be the best as my will allows me. To do within my power the best towards this country by doing what I said I will do. But let me first say this. I can provide leadership and direction for our country. I can manage the affairs of the office, and I can uphold the Constitution with the highest regard. I can lead, guide, and direct and evaluate the work of other senior leaders, vice president, and the like. I can, with the assistance of my team, be your chief of staff and chief of state, being a moral compass as our grantor of life has allowed me. I will be responsible for carrying out the laws and making sure that the laws are upheld. I will work diligently and faithfully with the legislative, executive, and judicial branches to ensure that we are working towards and maintaining the goals that we set out to accomplish when you voted for us. And you voted me in your favor. Within this administration, I promise you this one thing. I will do my best. But I want to let each state know you are responsible for your best. You see, we can work with policies, we can work with laws, we can do many things and make many choices. But if our team is working to do the best and you are contrary to the best, what do you expect? You are responsible leaders and politicians for your states. But today, I am going to talk about a different subject. I am going to put aside my duties as president, and I want to talk to you as citizen, one citizen to another, one human to another. Today I want to talk about a subject that presidents rarely bring up. You see, race is brought up, economics is brought up, all kinds of issues, healthcare, childcare, everything you can think of is brought up. And justifiably so. But today, I want to talk about something that has been long dividing this country. It has been issues that has long been lingering in this country. Today, I want to talk to you not as a president, but I want to talk to you as a human being, as a woman, as a white woman. I want to talk to my black brothers and sisters. Today I am addressing the issue of what you call systemic racism. And most of all, I want to address the Black American race. Before I became the President of the United States, as you know, and my record has been public, I have held many different offices. Offices in corporate America as president. Offices also as manager in social services. I have worked with different communities, and I have seen it all from the top to the bottom in the United States of America. I have witnessed communities that are privileged, communities that are privileged or that think that they are privileged, and they are on the brink of disaster. And communities that are truly underprivileged, played on by drugs, plagued by gun violence, and taken advantage of by cult religious organizations. I have seen black leaders, black pastors, black politicians, black celebrities, and I have one question for them today. Oh, I may lose some friends today. I may even lose popular opinion and popular support. But in order for us to move forward as a nation, we must first be honest as a nation. I thought about it long and hard. What would people think about me as a white woman who is considered privileged in this country, addressing such an issue as systemic racism is what it's called? What does she have to say to black people? And how the hell did she come up with saying black brothers and sisters? I have one question for you today. Out of all the systemic racism you speak of, what have you yourselves done but fill your pockets and your bank accounts upon the backs and the very people that you claim are underdeserved, that are plagued with injustice in their communities and underserved? What have you personally done for these communities and for these people? How have you assisted them, the very people that you yourselves play the racial systemic card with, to get what you want in life? To get not only what you want in life, but you leave these communities the same, in the same predicament, time after time, year after year, and decade after decade. How have you helped the minds, the hearts, and the spirits of these people? I'm not just talking about smooth, slick preaching. I'm not just talking about public relations and propaganda that is served in the media to serve selfish agendas. I am asking you a question today, and it is a national question. How have you helped these communities, these very people that you cry out about systemic racism? How have you helped them economically? How have you assisted them financially? Not just talking about them, making money on them, singing songs to them, making entertainment on them, and preaching to them. But how have you made an investment to these very people that you cry systemic racism injustice towards? As they say, show me the money. Well, I'm saying show me the proof. Because you know why? The proof is what matters. The pudding is here, and it stinks. It's rotten to its core. I've seen you fatten yourselves with commercials and propaganda, rich off the backs of these very people, while you sell the systemic racism card. I have watched you destroy and plunder and rob and steal from your very own, while you declare that the injustice of this systemic racism has to stop. Oh, I agree. This systemic system must stop. Racism, let's talk about it. You want more money, more power, more influence, more control. But what have you done with the power, the money, and the influence you have been given? You see, black brothers and sisters, in all your piety and in all your hypocrisy, you have forgotten one thing. It was never, ever about race. Because you yourselves have played a role in this systemic system. And now that it's being exposed to its core, and now that it's all falling apart, and now you cry wolf and you cry innocent. But my black brothers and sisters, please do not forget that it was never about race. If it were about race, then why did you do the same activities and advance yourselves? I have seen the enslavement of these communities with religious organizations that bind and control them, but do not free them with messages and free them in spirit and in mind. I have seen you attack them, talk down to them, and put them in jailhouses and, oh my, even separate their families. I have seen you in the medical fields doping them up with pills and putting them in institutions. I have seen you, myself, along with others. You make boisterous promises to them as politicians, as pastors, as leaders. You promise them what God is going to do for them, only for them to lose houses, only for them to lose jobs, and you become fat, and your children's college tuitions are paid for, and they continue to suffer. And you politicians become richer while they continue to suffer in their neighborhoods, plagued by gun violence, plagued by prostitution, plagued by all kinds of things, drugs. Black on black crime is what they say. And you continue with your propaganda campaigns. You say that Black lives matter. I agree, my black brothers and sisters. But you must admit that to cry the race card is far from troubling. It's astounding, the hypocrisy. You see, the white officers that commit their crimes, so do black officers, so do Latina officers, so do officers, period. So it wouldn't just be Black Lives Matter. It really is all lives matter. I have seen these people suffer for many years. Not just economically. I have seen them emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I stand as a white woman asking you, Black America, Black Americans, brothers and sisters, when will you confess up that you played a role in this systemic society yourselves? You see, in order for us to have change, not just change that we can believe in, not just making America great again, we must, do you understand, face honesty. We must be honest with ourselves. We can't put our hands on Bibles and swear and not be honest with ourselves. What have you done? You judge and you scowl and you howl at the system. You say that things must change, yet you partake of this same system and you sell this same system and you prosper within this same system. You play the patty cake when it's time to hide and run, when things begin to be exposed. You play the race card. But my black brothers and sisters, it is not just about race. It is a systemic issue. That part is right. But you must confess. You must not just expose your white brothers and white sisters' sins. Therefore, when you do, you expose your own. You must understand when you say white systemic racism and you work in this same systemic system and you push this same agenda and you prosper in the same way, you must be honest if you want real change. You see, the pudding is in, but there is no proof that you have been really caring for these people that you claim you care about. There have been politicians that have been in office for years, and the districts that they represent look a hot mess. They don't just look a hot mess, they are a hot mess. You pastors for years have been making promises of God while you collect and you collect and you collect and you make sure you and yours are taken care of. But these people suffer on the other end. And they parade themselves in debt, thinking that they have the promises of God. They need to get out of debt. All these dollars that you have passed through and that have been passed through from program to program, policy after policy, commercial after commercial, campaign propaganda after campaign propaganda. And yet I stand with the very honest question to my black brothers and sisters, while you howl systemic racism, what have you truly done? The proof is in the pudding. It's just like saying, oh Africa, we are here to help you. And we bring you rice and medications and pills and religious propaganda to tell you to serve our God while we enslave you. And then we come back to our America and we do public relations campaigns and we parade ourselves with tasteless and untrue messages. What will rice and pills do for a child who has hurt in his eyes and in his heart? Injustice is injustice. Can we admit that the child deserves more than rice? The child deserves more than pills. The child deserves the best life possible and to its fullest. And so does the people in whom reside in these communities that you step on, that you make a mockery on, and that you sell propaganda on. They deserve way more. Yes, if I was a white woman, and if I held the highest office, I would have to stop one time and one moment in our history to address what's called systemic racism. And I would have to say, systemic racism? How can it be race when all races participated in the systemic, ill-willed activities that were done under the sun? you would say, liar, liar, liar. And I would say, sorry, but not this time. Because the truth is, my black brothers and sisters, you did this also to your own people. Oh yes, you did. You see, we whites never put a gun to your head and told you to preach lies about God and to collect offerings while the people suffered. We whites never put a gun to your head and told you to sell all kind of propaganda music to the young people and to different people to destroy mind and to destroy mechanism. Oh no, you really participated out of it, out of your own greed, out of your own lust for gain and power and fame. You see, we whites never told you to steal from your own people and to prosper yourselves. You see, we whites never told you and we never made you do some of the things that you do to your own race. And we didn't open doors of opportunity to you and tell you, don't invite the next one in. Those are lies that you made up because out of your own insecurities and your own jealousies, you didn't want to see the next black sister and brother come up. But in order to hide your behaviors and the desires of your own heart, of course you had to blame us, your white brothers and sisters. You see, I don't deny that we did some ill will things, but you were right there beside us doing them too. That's why it's never been a race issue. It was always a systemic issue because it was always about the few in prosperity and the rest in servanthood. But in order for us to move forward as a country and as a nation, oh, we must become honest with ourselves. You see, my black brothers and sisters, with all the positions that you hold today, with all the power that you have today, oh, we don't have no power. Who told you that we whites had power? We live, we die, we breathe, and we stop breathing just as you do. We sold an illusion, and so did you. But the problem is that when everything is being exposed, you want to point the finger to us, but you forget you participated too. Systemic injustice, my fellow brothers and sisters, whether you are white or black, is wrong. Systemic injustice happens all over the world. And it happens with countries, societies, all types of people. You will not call it racism. Do racism exist? Oh, I'm no dummy. Of course it does. It even exists within your own race. Look at how you treat other black people. Look at how you look down upon them. That's racism. We're the ones. Your blacks are not the ones. Come on now. Supremacy, systemic system. A supremacy systemic system is a system that all races have participated in. Please go to your dictionaries and look up the word supremacy. Please go to your dictionary and look up the word systemic. Please go to your dictionary and look up the word system. And please go to your dictionary, then look up the word race. And I want you to come back and to be fully honest with yourself. Supremacy plays out in all races. Systemicism is in all races. Systems are in all races. Everybody played a part. Please don't cry wolf. Please don't cry victim. In order for this nation to move forward, in order for this nation to be better, we must admit, yes, there is racism. Yes, there are people that have certain ideas. But in the overall context of what we call prosperity, of what we call financial and economic and emotional and everything you can think of, that's a systemic issue, not a race issue. And that's why you have found our Black brothers and sisters participating in these issues. You see, if I were a white woman, I would say to Blacks who have plundered and stole from its own people to face up, own up, and to take responsibility for your involvement in this systemic injustice, and to take race off your lips. Because if it were just about race, you would not find Black people putting other Black people in jail. You would not find Black people threatening other Black people's lives. You would not find Black people telling other Black people, you're not going anywhere in life. Who do you think you are? If it was just about race, if it was just about racial economics, then you would not find Black people prospering off of these underdeserved communities, making them all kind of promises, and yet leaving them behind. You see, it is time to stop manipulating race, systemic race. And it is time to face it for what it really is. It's systemic injustice, period. Because the last time I checked, God wasn't in our mess. God wasn't in our theft. God wasn't in our lies, our deceit, our control, our manipulation, our dishonest gain. You want the system to change? Then please take a look, Black people. What do you have to say about how systemic injustice is played out even within Blacks amongst themselves? In order for you to be honest, in order for a nation to move forward, we must admit that all have been guilty of such delusions. All have been guilty of such behaviors. And all have been guilty of selling propaganda and lies. Because guess what? I'm not the 46th president of the United States. I'm not a white woman. I'm a Black woman. And I have lived in the United States of America since I came out of my mother's womb. You say, well, why would you say the president? Or why would you say if I were a white woman? Because Black people, you don't think that white people know the truth? Do you think that white people are ignorant? Or is it just a con game that you all play? Or maybe you think it is those type of Blacks that's stupid and we can just keep fooling them. And we can all just keep playing the racial systemic card and let them think it's about race. Well, just in case you haven't checked lately, we've all kind of woke up on that. So you can no longer sell those things because we're no longer believing that crap. We have seen all races participating in systemic injustice. And no matter what race you are, everyone needs change. Everyone. Those who lie the most to cover up it all intentionally sell the game. You see, imagine that if we let our guards down, that if we let our defenses down, if we stop selling all our psychological lies and we admitted the truth, how much more can we become better, brighter, and bolder? If we admit that it's not just a physical battle, an economic battle, a financial battle, but it is a spiritual battle. If we can admit that spirit has no color, which is mind, thought, energy, and heart, if we can admit that it really is a systemic issue, it is systemic injustice issue, and not just a race issue, then we can move better. And I believe we can move faster and we can move forward. Blacks for too long have pushed other blacks aside and told them, you're liars, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're dumb. Stay down. But guess what? Isn't that all a part of systemic injustice? Isn't that all a part of the we rise and they stay down? It was never about race. It was always about ill-gotten gain.